Whoosh. Top to morning, laddies. My name is Chaz, and welcome to the What If Deku Go Back in Time. Yeah. And its actual official name was What If Deku became the father of All for One. But I like the going back in time thing. So, before we jump into it, there's a couple words to say. So, first of all, this is an alternate version, like alternate timeline. So, and it's not compared to canon version. So, sorry, I was itching my tongue. So, yeah. So, if you guys are trying to say, oh, that's not happening in the canon, well, this is an alternate version. So, there's these things called alternate versions. So, in this alternate timeline, and I'm going to introduce Zumi after. So, let's begin with Zuko being born. Zuko was born quirkless. And so, and in this alternate timeline, he didn't get one for all. Oh. So, I said he doesn't get one for all. So he took Bakugo's advice of not being a hero. So then but one day, a villain known as, or actually this is a custom character, or custom villain, known as Time Warper. So, and his quirk is Time Warp. So, it allows the user to teleport himself or anyone else into another timeline or another time, like going back to the past or going to the future. Well, in order to activate his quirk, he needs to... He doesn't use 5 fingers, he only needs 1 finger. So when he grabs Zuko, he accidentally tapped on his shoulder. And yeah, Zuko was in his school outfit. As he got sent back in time to a period of I'm just gonna use one of these images. So All for One's, I'm gonna zoom in. All for One's is mother. The one, yeah, before All for One was even born. Yeah. It was way before All for One, One for All, and like the whole thing. And plus she wasn't married to anyone. I'm going to cover that up. So she ends up getting married. Okay, here we go. She ends up getting married. No, that girl that's right here. The one that I'm trying to zoom in. Her, right there. She ends up getting married to Zuko. And, yeah, she did the deed. And, of course, Zuko had a quirk, or actually a power, that he was born with, of infinity and zero. And he created a custom quirk so that yeah, and she gave birth to All for One and One for All. Yeah. And they were good kids. And trying to... Yeah, so All for One was basically... Or Zuko and his wife. And, yeah, I know that it, basically caused a paradox, basically a alternate timeline, changed. And so All for One looked at Zuko, or his father, and apologized. So basically, but they were poor. But imagine if you had to go back in time, and you caused... Imagine yourself going back in time, and you caused something happened in the past. It changes the future. So Zuko and his wife, his wife was died from old age. And yeah, and Zuko, whom was experiencing, because, and she tells him that no matter what happens, I'll always be here with you. As she made a pinky promise to him. So, yeah. So then he takes really good care of the kids. But he didn't know that the All for One had his secret organization. Basically, yeah. So then the time moves on as he sees, so his son, the one that the first user of One for All, I'm always types up first user of One for All. He watched his own son and grew like old, and Zuko spent a lot of time with his kids, and yeah, as he tells him that no matter what. So, yeah. So now after, let's say a time skip. So now, because it's an alternate timeline, like it got changed. So now, Zumi was born. And yeah. Zumi was born. And she had a quirk of fire manipulation. And she does get One for All. As Zuko was I'm trying to say it in a good way, not in a bad way. So Zuko ends up he always ends up he could sense the essence of his own son. And he had way more dark experience seeing All Might basically knocking his own Zuko's son block off thing. If you guys don't know what I'm referring to, All Might just punched Zuko, punched All for One with enough force to be yeah. So then, alright. So then so Zuko was basically, was the only none. Because his body, because he had, let me rephrase that. His, time thing, or thanks to the villain, has just stopped. He is a adult. Same age as All Might's buffed up form. As he experienced pain, but he doesn't show it. Since after his wife let me remind you, just to be safe, because some of you probably like go in the comments of it like, oh, Chaco is still alive, and she basically, she's not dead yet. Well, in this universe, I am talking about All for One's mother. The one that I showed you. You know? She ends up being, you know. So, yeah. So, he experiences pain after his mother, or no, after his wife died. As he's wondering why him. As he's in so much pain. And he looks at his own hands. And he knows the... So, and All for One respects him. Respects Zuko as Zuko is his father. Biologically his dad, basically. In this whatever. Or in this universe, though, that I'm talking about. That he created. And, yeah. So, yeah, Zuko is disappointed that All for One was a villain behind his back. The correct term. So then, All for One then reminds his own father that because Zuko was in that time period, like actually before All for One thing. So All for One told his villains don't mess with his father. So he does. Everyone obeys, and yeah. And he is more like his own father, or actually All for One went checked on his father before to see if he was okay, as he told his father that are you doing okay then? As Zuko replies, no, it's just but it's just the losing your mother and your sibling. Is getting me like, I'm trying to not show it. And All for One could tell that his own father is trying to keep himself calm. But he knows that he's depressed. Like, he's always so depressed. So, so then All for One agrees. And, yeah. As he he noticed, or his father did, or actually, he did notice that he never changes. Like, he doesn't have gray hairs. He always had green hair. And they always called him Deku. Or most people call him Deku, but he's like, to All For One, he's his father. So, yeah. So then his father, so he goes to a quirkless school, but not like in the, but he sees that same guy that was, because he remembers, or actually because his memories got changed, but he still remembers fragments of the same villain that told, or that tapped on Zuku's shoulder and made him that. Yeah. So, what does Zuku do? He walked up to the villain, grabs him by the throat, slams him against the wall, and tells him that you don't need to, like, teleport people to the timelines. Okay? As he had a dead look in his eyes. As the time guy says, okay, dude. Wait, I know you. You're her Deku. You're the father of All For One. And I almost try to spoil the ending. I almost did, but thank goodness. So, Zuku, who was basically like tossed him. So, as he was so depressed, and then he meets All For One's sensei thing. Like, basically, the next user of All For One's quirk. So, Zuku was like, okay. So, then All For One battled against All Might, as All Might was down, as All For One was about to shoot a beam of light, as Zuku, Deku steps in, absorbs the attack, because All For One knows a reason why that he stepped in. He kind of went overboard by trying to kill the symbol of peace. As he puts his hand on his chest, like what you see on your screen, like that one, as he bows his head, as he says, sorry, Dad, kind of went overboard. You're okay, son. As everybody's like, what? You're his dad? As every villain knew about it. Or some villains knew about it. But others are just like, wait, what? As even Shiraki-sen didn't even know that. Or actually, yeah. Shiraki-sen didn't even know that All For One Hun had a dad. And as Deku tells his son Hun that the theme play, hey, nice. I've seen it so many times that and like it's not even cool with me. As All For One says, yeah. As he remembers that he was there every single time. So, yeah. Zuko was the only one that could even... So when All Might met All For One's father, a kind man. Sorry about that. So, I'm Deku. Or actually, what would be like the... Because I'm trying to think of what All Might or All For One's mother's last name. Because I know it was the All For One's and yeah. Because I'm trying to think. Because hardening all the on her left arm or amount, yeah. That doesn't tell me anything. I'm trying to think about her name. Because some of these panels, you can't even, like... Because... Oh, no. Yeah, so... I think it was Shraki or something. Well, it doesn't tell her name, so I'll just say name that she's a I'll just say a wife named Crow. Or, yeah. So she ends up being, So she was pretty powerful. Where, yeah. So Deku, I forget it. It's because, yeah. Yeah, and so the guy, so Deku was basically a is a powerhouse. So he cares about his sister. No. So the yeah, I'm trying to find that stupid image. But yeah. So Zuko was basically I'm trying to figure that out. But yeah. So Zuko was pretty powerful. So, yeah. I'm just using this image, so, yeah. So, she ends up, so Zuko's last name got changed to because he was just called Deku. No last name, because, yeah. So, yeah. So Zuko was like, I remember having weird dreams. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, Zuko, who was basically told him, or he always told, or he always wakes up with, like, weirdest dreams. Him. So, his father, or not father, his son, All For One, it, like, basically told him, or he always looks so, like, tired out look, as All For One asked him, or actually, because they always asked him why is he always, like, look like that. Zuko always says, I always have weird dreams. But this one was kind of weird. It was like me, as he says, it's like me inside of an alternate universe. Where I was just a kid and like, you've seen those students that, yeah, and I was like one of them. It was like an alternate version, like me in this situation of me battling against, All For One. Yeah. It's like, as he's trying to explain it better, but All For One understands that there's, yeah. So, yeah. So Zuko, so All For One turned himself in, and he did, or Zuko did apologize, like he says, on his behalf. Sorry for causing you all this pain. As All Might comes in, because he's a little bit angry at a guy that brought All for One into this world. So he ends up beating, or trying to beat Zuko, but Zuko dodged the attack. And yeah, he does all that stuff, and yeah. So Zuko, who used his powers of infinity to mimic his son's arms, but instead of having just one arm, like what his son can do, he does it with both arms. And yeah, but not to like punch him, but instead restrain him. As he says, calm down. So then So then the day came. As he remembers what happened. His pain. As he looks over at All for One. Or no, he looks over at Bakugo. Oh. And told him there's a name. Your pain. As the pain that he had he was mad. I mean, ain't like he was like furious with how much anger he got. As So, yeah, All for One could sense anger from his own father. So, he grabs Bakugo, or actually Zuko grabs Bakugo, lifts him up. I remember there's an alternate version of you that told the alternate version of me just to give up on being a hero. Because as he tossed Bakugo through the wall, yeah, and as Zuko was, as Zuko looks over at All Might, Deku looks over at All Might, and he says that I always had weirdest dreams of me wanted to be like what you are. when I was just a kid. But it was an alternate timeline version. But now I'm, yeah. So, all for one, as Zuku's is suffering from, because that time person isn't, a downside, because he alternated the time. Line, as Zuko wants to fix it, as he's blaming himself, as his headaches got worse and worse every single day, as everyone is trying to, or all the villains looked at him, and asked him, what's going on? It's, as he tells them, it's it feels like both that alternate version of me and myself are colliding into each other, like our memory are fusing together. As they're wondering what he means by that. But then Zuko looks up and he explains it better. Imagine there's two versions of me. One you already see before you, and the other is the kid version, called Zuko Midoriya. Is trying to fuse each other's with it, creating another paradox. Yeah, so as his pain grew larger until here's the spoilers for if you have not seen the manga or the anime of season 7, where, because of time skip, and All for One didn't inherit the zero, or actually the pain of zero. So what does it do is basically it regenerates. It's like Ares' quirk, but it always has to constantly. It always constantly regenerates you back to out of existence. So that's what All for One did. All for One died, as that broke Zuku's heart. As Zuku's power or broke, and returning him back to present day, or to the before. Like, basically at the beginning of this story. As before he goes, he turns to look at Zumi. Or he goes back to the one that was back in the past, like before the paradox happened thing. So it was, yeah. So Zuko looks over at Zumi as he tells Zumi, see you around, sister. As he fades into nothingness. So then the time goes backwards to the beginning of this what if. So, yeah. So, yeah. But Zuku, who got out of bed, and he woke up crying as he had a nightmare, as his parents walked in, or like Inko ran in, and she said, "What's wrong, sweet pea? I had this weird dream where there's this villain that showed up at my school." So he's basically explaining what happened in that dream. Basically, so when Inko and Sashi was a pro hero, and he asked, what was the villain's name? Time Warper. I think. The Time Warper tapped or grabbed me, and it sent me back in time. And it was... Then, yeah. So, yeah, as Sashi, he was like, okay, so, and for a time period that was before, he went, like, because of change thing, like, changed back to before the paradox happened, he was only at age of 4 when he told his parents that. As his parents were like, holy crud. Okay. And what happened it was in the near future, right? Yeah. It was like 5 years old, and like I took my friend's advice of not being the hero. That's weird. Yeah. So then the Zuko goes to a quirk doctor, and the quirk doctor, because it was like, because the whole rewind thing and all that stuff, like back to a present day or before, it's weird, I know. It basically, the quirk doctor, here, MHA quirk. I always spell it wrong. Quirk Doctor Anker told Zuko that he has a quirk. And he told him what quirk he has. And the powers of Infinity Zero. Or actually, fire control. So yeah. So then at age of 5, Bakugo was like, cool, bro. I mean, yeah. And he remembers that as he told his friends about his dream thing, and so Bakugo was like, man, you were a father of all for one? Man, that's crazy. Were you feeling okay? I mean, yeah. So then So then after school thing, Inko and Asashi told Zuko that he has a sibling along the way. Like basically a brother or sister. But you know who it is? Zumi. So yeah. So Zumi was born and yeah. And Zuko is happy. As he is trying to remember why. So then he ends up going to... Let's see how long this video took. 20 minutes. And what was the other one? 30? Yeah. Please wait for part 2 to be filmed.